think men have always had and wanted their preferences. I don't know, black men, you can help me out, but I didn't never think that men were just settling. I never thought that.
Yeah, they just couldn't speak up because they knew they knew
So
that.
you really think that men in the past, I'm gonna say black men, were just selling for women?
Absolutely. Right now, okay. Right
Why?
now,
Wait a minute. Hold on. Slow down, slow down. You think that a man would pick his wife and it would be just, I need to know, why would he do that? Why would he just, so you're saying there wouldn't be any attraction? He would just be like, you my wife, come on home. That's how
yeah,
you would.
yeah, I mean, I'm from the South, the dirty South, down in Louisiana, and I
Yeah.
know couples that sleep in separate bedrooms.
Well, that just means
They don't hold hands. They don't hold hands until they're at the family reunion, and you never see any intimacy between them. And some of these women are big, oily, big old women that, and them men, and they looking at them. And I'm being honest right now. I'm not being funny. Some of these women look just terrifying, and so you see these men just walking around like, damn, what was I thinking? And they just don't. You could tell they just don't want to be there, but they stay there because they don't want to. I guess they don't want to feel like a failure, or they don't want to feel like, they don't. But some of those men, they just don't want to be there, and some of these men are just so miserable. And you be like, "Ooh, look at Uncle Charlie. He be over there just sitting there."
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I got a little different theory about that, and I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
The actual state of the situation at this point,
Mhm.
but I actually think what happens is not too many black families have good examples of husband and wife in marriage, because as doing that, a good example of it would be me pouring into you and you pouring into me, and
Right.
that would be a woman having pride about herself, and if she loses that because she may be depressed or overeating or whatever, that man, the good example of that would be like, babe, what's wrong? Let me take you to get some help or whatever. Or that man, him losing his position or value as the husband, it would be like, babe, what can I do? From the woman, babe, what can I do to help you? How can we get this marriage back on track? Instead of just letting time go by and forgetting how to actually be married. I don't
Right.
think it starts that way. I just don't think we have good examples on how to continue on in good relationships.
Exactly.
And we just let go. We just have kids. He just goes to work and come home, and
Yep.
he just goes to work and come home. She, don't pour into each other at all. So there's really, I hate to say it, not much to even live for, but they don't really know it. They're just autopilot. They're just together, and no, there's no attraction anymore. But I wouldn't say that he settled. I would just say this is how we are now, and nobody really knows how to get the train back on the track, because nobody ever told you how to get the train on the track. Once the train came off the track, you just continue to go on in it. The man or the woman would get them a little something on the side, maybe both.
Right.
And then you hope and pray nothing tragic happens to neither.
Right.
And you hope and pray that the kids come out okay. And most of the time they do, but that's just how we were living.
Right.
But I don't know if I would say the men were settling, but I agree with you that oftentimes some of us women and men too, but I'm dealing with the women at this particular moment, we do lose ourselves, not particularly in marriage. It wasn't the marriage's fault. What happens is we get so distracted that we don't care about what we look like.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been that we never really cared, because remember I said this a long time ago, your youth hides a lot of stuff. When you're young, everybody look good. When you're young, you be thin, you had the best hair, you had
Right.
the best skin. If you just drank some water and stay busy, you're good. But
Right.
when life starts to happen and you start having kids, see, nobody was intentional back then. Nobody intentional. You just have one baby after the other, after the other, after the other, And I just think they get lost. They don't care about themselves anymore. Some of them don't even go to church together. If they do go to church together, they won't even ride in the same car. And tell me how that makes any amount of sense.